Monday, December 16, 2019, Grafton School District Board of Education meeting to order. Ask everyone present to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We get the flag back up.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we've got two items on the consent agenda this evening. Approval of the minutes from the November 25th, 2019 board meeting and the statements of receipts and expenditures for November 2019. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda item.
So
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it passes. Action items. We're here at Kennedy. Glad to be here.
Yes.
Turn it over to the folks from Kennedy.
Yep, so before we turn it over, I guess, in the past, the board has gone to different schools, and we thought with our projects being mostly completed now, except for minor checkpoint things, we thought it'd be great to have it in the facility. So it's going to be different spots as we go through all of our buildings where the schools make their presentations. We will hear. So we are in the LMC now. We're going to hear from Dr. Gunderson and some of his students, and I've been told there's going to be a little competition again, and there were students that were practicing earlier, which I didn't know was allowed, so I'm a little nervous now because they were putting really well. So you're going to see some things in action. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Gunderson and his team. He has some teachers here and some students to talk us through their presentation.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Craig Gunderson, the principal at Kennedy Elementary School. Welcome to Kennedy. We are a 4K through 5th grade school. We're happy that you're here this evening. And just wanted to feature our new addition on our building. This view from the southeast represents our library, and then we are about here. So I'd like to thank you for welcoming us. We're going to be focusing on our school and our classroom, growth and learning, and then also a good feature of our students and staff. We want to thank you all for coming here this evening. So about our school, we have approximately 450 students, 57 staff members, 74,000 square feet, and we are really enjoying our newly remodeled building. It's interesting because when we were presenting last year, the building was brand new, and we hadn't yet settled in, and the feedback that we're receiving as a staff and as a team is that people are feeling more comfortable in the school, that it is feeling more like home, and we're just feeling more settled. And we're just very proud of what is happening at our school and being here tonight. A few popcorn pieces looking at different features of our school. Our students in action. Like Mr. Nelson said, our school is almost nearing completion with 99.9% of things in place. Our students are enjoying the new swings. Yes, the swings are open. Students are enjoying our buddy benches, our playground spaces, and we're having a great time building culture and working together. We're proud of our school in action with our Kennedy Literacy Night. We just finished our second annual Literacy Night, and it was a huge success. We had approximately 500 people come, and we ran out of pizza, and that's a good problem, I suppose, because it means that we had a great turnout. So we're going to be ordering more pizza next year, but it was a very powerful opportunity because 5K facilitated a Stages of Emerging Readers session. We had a lot of literacy-related activities and stations, and it was a welcoming opportunity to feature writing. And one piece of enhancement from this year compared to last year is that we were able to feature student work throughout the lockers and classroom environments. So virtually every child had a piece of writing displayed. And that was a great idea that we got from Woodview Elementary School from their Literacy Night the year before. We're focusing on working together to do great things for kids. And you can see Mr. Nelson alongside Snape, alongside some other storybook characters, and then you can see Professor Dumbledore with Kenny the Eagle and then Clifford the Big Red Dog. Our teachers this year are working on providing great clarity and giving feedback to kids. We're being conscious with our language, our teaching points and talking points. And this is really critical because when our teachers are teaching effectively, when our students are aware of the learning targets, and our students are able to demonstrate those skills in relation to essential standards, great things are going to occur. So here's some examples of some great student clarity or teacher clarity from Mr. Lazovic, talking about slowing down, using strategies, reading it twice, making sure that we are really being sure of our work. but explicitness and clarity within our lessons is a large focus for us this year. We're proud of our 4K students. We're really working to make them a part of our school. You can see 4K students reading down below. See Mrs. Shanks presenting and reading aloud to her students. We try to incorporate them into virtually every aspect of the school. They come to the library. They attend our assemblies. They're part of our events. We really want to rope them in to make this feel like a second home for them, because we know that their comfort is going to lead to future success. So we're very proud of our 4K program here. We're in our second year of Bridges in math implementation, and things are going along really well. You'll see this reflected, I believe, on some of the report card indicators where we're showing great achievement, growth, and achievement gaps data that's coming back from our math bridges. This is a feature of 5K, number corner. You can see Mrs. Gazarowski and a student named Jillian who's leading the way. What we really like about number corner is that it builds patterns, it builds great habits, it's confidence, they're working together, and it's all about math talk within essential standards. We're using the resource with greater fluency this year and proficiency. Teachers are feeling more comfortable about it, but we're really excited to see the continued math growth. Our teachers are working closely together through their collaborative efforts. This is our 4th grade team, and what they're doing is they're analyzing student data through their assessments and then talking about instructional practices that they can use across their level to impact student learning. A lot of this is occurring within core instruction, but we also have SOAR as a 30-minute time block that they're using several times a week in relation to essential standards. But we're very proud of our grade level teamwork and pulling together and making sure that we are demonstrating mastery to those essential standards. One of our big focuses this year is writing about reading and writing analytically. So this is an example from 5th grade, and they're working to read different sources on the computer and then pull it together in a cohesive text. It's a great example because it's allowing children to use text-based evidence. It does help to facilitate greater proficiency, we feel, on the forward exam through the text-dependent analysis. And this is a big priority for us at all grade levels, pulling information from text, justifying our responses, and making sure that we are reading and writing analytically. We're in our first year of phonics implementation for grades K through 2. We're very proud of this resource because it's thorough, it's quality, and it's representing an area of need for us that we're filling. There's a growth opportunity and good news with this. When we gave our beginning of the year early literacy assessment, we were able to diagnose some pretty heavy gaps within phonemic awareness. It's pretty heavy duty. In fact, we anticipated this gap, but we didn't quite know the magnitude of it until we really dug into the data. And that's kind of a growth opportunity for us because it's information that we hadn't had previously. But the good news is that we have plans, 5K, 1st grade and 2nd grade, to address these gaps. We've identified which students are in need of more support. We have plans in place with our teachers to pull together and to provide great opportunities for kids. And we do believe that the additional phonics work and also the quality workshop practices working together are going to lead to great things for our students and produce those desired results. This is a picture of Gus, the phonics mascot for 2nd grade. Every grade level, 5K, 1st grade, and 2nd grade has a different animal mascot, and he's like an extra student in their classrooms. In fact, we told the kids that Gus was starting on Monday, and they thought that Gus was a real student. So then the teacher pulled Gus out, and they're like, okay, I get it now. But Gus has his own locker. He writes letters. Sometimes he makes mistakes that the kids analyze, and he's just this way that we can open up and explore, and we can take risks and just really work together. But this is Gus, the phonics mascot. You may even notice his locker if you go down the hall. With our school in action, our Kennedy clubs are thriving. Student council has 58 students in grades 4 and 5. Our Kennedy Singers, formerly known as the G Group, has 45 singers. Math Olympiads, 40 students. Battle of the Books, 70 students. First Lego League for grades 4 through 8, 11 students. First Lego League Junior, 35 students, and that's starting up in January 2020. Then our Winter Adventures Clubs has currently 20 plus experiences that will be launching in January. And that's a continuation of a great tradition from GES. are continued here, and it just provides students with great opportunities after school with adults who have a passion for different areas. A lot of these are new to us this year, and it required a little bit of a nudge for our school and staff to take on another opportunity to work together. But what we're noticing here is that the kids love it. In fact, here you can see Math Olympiads. They have their lunches here, and Mrs. Hotstadter, our advisor, working together on it. And it's incredibly noisy in here. However, it's all about math talk.
It is. It's very loud.
But then you listen in, and it's all math discussions. And the students range in different abilities, but they all have a passion for math, and it's blooming and it's budding. And they're learning together how to work together, analyze mathematical concepts, and then produce results together. We do have a strong focus on growth and learning every day, and we do have goals that are linked to the superintendent's dashboard, as well as some of our elementary goals. Our goals this year are united between Kennedy and Woodview, and we're proud to feature some of those today. So for our elementary level goals, we're looking at attendance and discipline for all students, making sure that kids are coming to school and that student behavior is strong. Third grade forward scores in reading is a huge topic for us. We know that this is a predictor for future college and career readiness, and it's a strong indicator that's a huge priority for us. We're focusing on essential standards within reading and students mastering those standards, and that occurs throughout the school year. And then also what we were finding critical is reading benchmarks, so making sure that 5K students are at level D+, and what we're even finding is that it's D/E to show that readiness for first grade level J, second grade level M, and making sure that our students are on track throughout the school year. And then also reading and math growth through MAP as a predictor and as another indicator for us to discuss. So this is representative of Mr. McMahon and I working together with our leadership teams, our data teams at our school, district level administration, the school board, coming together to create rigorous goals for our school to pursue. We're very excited about this and the focus that it gives us. For our report card this year, we did discuss this at a prior meeting, but it's a topic for us as a staff when we look at achievement, growth, gaps, and on-track post-secondary readiness. We're proud of a lot of our math results. We're going to be continuing that work, and our focus this year is looking at reading and making sure that we're focusing on those essential standards, working together so that all kids can experience success. We've identified which students maybe aren't yet closing that gap. We're pulling their data. We're looking at students who may not be closing the gap on a regular basis to check their progress monitoring data throughout the year. We're expecting great things from them. And also making sure that all students are growing, whether you are a student who's maybe struggling or a student who is performing at the highest levels of the grade level, how can we stretch them to do great things in class? This also ties in with our current 100-day plan, where we're focusing on assessment, instruction, and analysis of data. You'll see the words assessment in practically every aspect of the 100-day plan, because we feel that when we are able to understand what our students are currently doing in class, their levels of performance, we can adjust our instruction and best meet their needs. This is occurring during universal instruction in SOAR. It's occurring in small teams and school-wide teams as well. We've taken a step forward in how we are measuring data and making students part of this process so that they're setting their own goals and are aware of their achievement more so on a daily basis. We believe that it's all going to tie together to lead to strong results. And really it's about teacher focus. So teachers have clarity about their instructional methods, their team is working together, they're pursuing common results, students are engaged, and the endpoint data is looking strong for our school. This picture is representative of what we are seeking within our instruction. So this is first grade readers workshop with Mrs. Westfall. You can see students who are reading around the room from their book bins, reading for stamina and engagement. You can see the classroom teacher working with a small group of students in a guided reading process, making sure that we're reading closely, analyzing the text. You can see a cross-categorical teacher working with a child, pushing in, making sure that kids are included, that all students are receiving that core instruction, which is so important. And also that our support staff members are also reading with kids, and we're using our time wisely. And this is a focus so that all students can learn, all students are part of that regular education curriculum, and it's a step up for us this year. So we're going to make a transition now into the Kennedy 5th grade integrated studies section of the presentation. And I'd like to welcome Mrs. Hofstadter, Mrs. Griffith, Mrs. Rupnow, and then Avery Pierce and Sierra Jaworowski to the front. You can just touch it.
All right, I am Deb Rupno. I teach 5th grade integrated studies. And I've talked to you last year about our mini golf unit when we first started integrated studies. And majorly, this unit really teaches the kids to work in groups together, to compromise, to persevere challenges. They need to agree on lots of things throughout this unit. And then this year, since we got the grant from GEF, we wanted to incorporate the 3D printer. So after talking with Mrs. Griffith, and we kind of decided what we wanted to do, I had to learn the software Tinkercad, and that was interesting, challenging. I had never done anything like that, so I watched videos on YouTube, and that's what my son always does, so that's what I did, and tried to figure out what I was doing, and then I first came in with a video, and then the girls will talk about how each of the different classes was a little bit different on how I taught them to use the Tinkercad, and we were really excited to be able to use something new and different, and it's fun to watch the actual machine working and all of those kinds of things. So I'm going to turn it over to Avery and Sierra.
Next slide, right?
Hi, my name's Avery. One thing that I liked about integrated studies is we do different activities every time we have class. Hi, I'm Sierra, and one thing I like about integrated studies is how we always do really cool activities, for example, 3D printing. My dad also has a 3D printer, and he allows me to create some really cool things. Miss Rupnow showed us a video about someone making a wrench on a 3D printing app called Tinkercad. Each time the person made something or talked about something new, Miss Rupnow would pause the video and help us create the part. She showed us the different aspects and the different materials we could use to make our 3D printing object better. At the beginning, when we started using Tinkercad, Miss Rupnow led Miss Jacobson's class through the steps of how to make the 3D object. For example, the steps of connecting shapes. She would show us how to do something, and then we could try it on our own with our group. My team decided on our gravestone object because the other mini golf holes we had, the objects would have been much harder to make, as in a locker. The objects had to be 3 inches tall and 3 inches wide. Some of the struggles were trying to make it wide enough and tall enough so we could make the golf ball fit through the hole we wanted to put in our 3D object. My team kept arguing about what color we should make it or what we really want to do for our object, but we finally agreed on doing a not too easy, not too hard gravestone. In order to make the shape one object, we had to click on an object, hold shift, and then click the other object, and at the top right corner, press the button that said group. What I liked about using Tinkercad is how I can show my dad to use the app so we can make cooler and better 3D objects. The group you were in worked together to make your 3D object. First, your group would have to choose an object from one of the holes that you created. We would have to decide on what shapes we would want to use to make this object. We were only allowed to use basic shapes like a sphere or a rectangle, but being able to have a touch screen for our Chromebook made it a lot easier when dragging and moving shapes. One thing that I liked about Tinkercad was being able to connect different shapes to make something completely different.
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mrs. H, and I get the privilege of working here at Kennedy in this fabulous new library. I love our space here. I just have to plug our new space. So after these fabulous 5th graders designed in Tinkercad their projects, they sent their files to me. Oh my goodness. And then I had to figure out how to use this amazing printer that we were gifted. So it was a learning curve this year for us, taking these designs and figuring out how to print them. For example, these kids designed archways. Well, when you print an archway, there's negative space. It doesn't print well. We had to figure out how to print support systems that we could, in fact, knock out. So it was a learning curve for us. You'll see some of the materials that are passed around. The dice was my first shot at printing, and it didn't print very well. The bottom is missing because I had to learn how to level the machine properly. So it was definitely a learning curve as we figure this out. Some of the kiddos' projects had to be manipulated or split in half, just given the support restraints, trying to figure that out. But they did a fantastic job. For those of you who don't know how the 3D printer works, we are taking thin filaments of plastic. There's a spool that was passed around, and we're melting it to 220 degrees, and it is being passed through the printer, and that top part of the machine that is moving around is printing in very, very thin sheets of plastic, layer by layer by layer. So this Kennedy Eagle that is printing right now is approximately 758 layers, and that is taking about 10 hours to print. So it is printing layer by layer by layer by layer. The kiddos projects were about 400 to 500 layers, and those took about 4 and 5 hours to print. So it takes some time, but definitely well worth it. The kids had a great time, so hopefully we can do more of this.
We would like to thank the GEF for their generosity. It truly is a purchase in action. Thankful for our library staff who took it out of the box very quickly and got it running. It was just this enthusiasm that I have not seen occur oftentimes as a principal, where it's rip the box open, let's get this thing going, get the filament in, let's start printing stuff. And what I like about it is that we'll print stuff and then it'll be midday and the kids will all stop by and look at it. So while 5th grade has this integrated studies project, we have 4K kids and 5K kids looking in there asking, can I print something? I have an idea. Can I design something on Tinkercad?
It's become a school-wide event to watch these things print. It's really been fun.
Yes.
This is your object, right, Avery? In that picture there? So that one's Avery's object. So these are the holes the students actually created and played, right, Mrs. Rucknelly? Yep. They all played each other's holes. Mm-hmm. And so these are some of the holes that were created with the 3D, whoo, I got a little too close. With a 3D object in the middle, one 3D object on each hole. I would love to have printed even more, but there is, to some degree, a time and cost element that has to come into play. A roll, one spool is almost $30 of filament. So there is some cost piece. Ooh, I went too fast.
Wait for it. The volume between the full.
Oh, do you want it on?
Full volume. Today we have the Kennedy Mini Golf Challenge. We're gathered here at North Augusta. Okay, cut the volume. Please. Okay, so we've devised a small mini golf challenge. It's going to involve our students, and also Mr. Nelson has graciously accepted the challenge. It's a best of, I guess, 3-hole. Best of 3. Some people have brought their own putters, and we're going to be taking a small field trip to Augusta North over at the library to do a little mini golf challenge. So I encourage you to stand up, head into the LMC for our activity, please.
Oh boy, okay, I'm nervous actually. So I want to go to that cup down there, right?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, that's not bad actually.
No?
Do I go again or do I wait for you?
just hit it in because you'll never remember who's fault.
Okay. So I gotta make this. Oh boy, these are always make me nervous. Oh. That's what I do. Can I put my foot here?
Yes.
Okay. No, like hit it in there. Okay. 4. Oh boy. Glad I'm surrounded by friends. Oh.
There you go. Nicely done.
A polite
Thank you.
clap,
Okay.
please. Yes. Good job, Mr. Nelson.
I like it. Oh,
I think she gets a point.
you get to redo.
I
You get to mulligan. And you gotta be in front of the blue, because I was in front of the blue, so then I feel like I cheated. There we go. I don't want that. Hard. Oh, yeah. There we go, good shot. Yep, give yourself space there, good job. Stand. Oh, that's good. Cut the corner. Oh. That wasn't louder. Oh, see, that's happened to me. It's a tough cup. Phil Mickelson, not good enough.
Got it, Avery.
There we go. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Let's go Sierra.
Mulligan. First full mulligan. Nice.
There you go.
Oh. See, that was in the way. There you go. Maybe I can. Oh, that's easy right there. That's pretty good. Oh! There you go. That's good. Good shot. That was really a good shot. Okay, so where do we go next? We're going over here. This one looks way harder. I was trying to figure out where there's 3 holes. So this is like.
Oh, the third one's a surprise, so don't you worry.
Oh.
Don't
You're talking about start being real weird. Okay, so what am I doing? You're not trapping me here, are you? This is great. Oh, bro. That's not good.
Notice when you said mulligan for
Is that bad? I did notice that there is no sympathy. It's like my real golf game. Oh, now it. Oh, no. I like to borrow that. I can do this, right? You gotta do this. Is this illegal?
Wiffle ball in the corner pocket.
It's gotta be like- Oh, yeah. It's actually better than that. That's pretty good. Okay. Wow, there's a lot of problems on this one. Where's that? Pretty shortcut. Oh, stop. Oh, there you go. That's good.
We felt your pain on that one.
Oh. Is this a movable object?
Sarah's tapping.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't counting, that was a lot. See, it's not so easy. That's the problem. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Nicely done.
That's really good.
Cut the corner. Cut the corner. There you go. There you
That's
go.
also a good play. Oh.
Oh.
Trying to help you. It's easy, it's not. Nice. Oh.
Out of the gate.
Wow, really good shot.
I think she's maybe
Oh.
maybe.
Beginner's luck.
Oh, well, that was good thinking, actually. Yeah, I like that thought. Some strategy there. Okay. All know you a lot less than I had. Oh, please say it. Oh, come on! Get him up there. I get another chance? Thank you. That must slope, the floor must be sloped to the right, right? That must be, I couldn't have hit it the wrong way. Okay, that's pretty good. That was pretty good.
That's playable.
That was better. Short rock. What are the odds of hitting that thing right in front of it? Might as well miss it hard. There we go. Okay, ladies, knock it in. Oh, see, I'm telling you, it slopes that way. Jeff. Oh, sorry. Come on, bounce. Oh, that's gonna be good. Oh, well done. Good job. Oh yeah, that's way better than mine. Well done. Okay, let's see a hole in one here. Good job. Good job. Oh! Wow! I can't even mess up this one. Oh, nice job.
Up here in front of the screen.
Hold your winning. Oh, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Let's give him another round of applause.
Do we want to offer anybody have any questions about the 3D printing?
Any questions? We got some of the answers.
I know Leslie was answering the questions as they were walking, so everybody good? Okay.
Yes, so I'm very thankful for our staff, for our students, for the families who gave up their time this evening to come over to Kennedy. And this is like a representation of what we're discovering at Kennedy almost every day, where there's new and creative ways to use our building. The golfing competition occurred in the Kennedy Gymnasium. We couldn't have done that 2 years ago. Obviously the ramp was new and everything, so that was a feature, but it's just a representation that the new building, the new equipment has opened up all kinds of possibilities for us, and it's really been up to the imaginations of our staff, the positive direction with curriculum, and some of the decisions that have been made to give kids powerful opportunities that have opened up a lot of doors, and students are able to pursue many interests, and we're just proud to be able to be here in this new Kennedy building. So thank you.
Any questions for Dr. Gunderson?
As far as the new schedule that you have this year changing, how is that going compared to the?
Right. So the new schedule is working beautifully. We were finding small overlaps and gaps that we had to attend to and problem solve throughout the months and everything. For example, we made like a 5-minute shift with kindergarten encore because we were experiencing a traffic jam and it just was creating an inefficiency for us. So we've been able to be very selective with the instructional time, but then also a little bit flexible so that it works in reality as kids transition from place to place, while also ensuring the fidelity to the instructional minutes. And we're going to come back again in the spring and take a look at our schedule and see if we can make it even better. And it feels good right now, and the instructional minutes are of quality. Large blocks of time for ELA, math, different subjects that are of great importance, and also the encore blocks with art, music, fight, and library occurring each and every day.
Any additional questions? Thank you very much, and thank you again to your students and to all of the wonderful displays of great learning and learning experiences at Kennedy.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, we have Senator Alberta Darwin, but understand that today she was unable to make it.
Yes, she called me personally today to express her regret on not being able to make it tonight. When we pass that on to the board, we will get her added to a future board agenda, but we will not have that presentation tonight.
All right, we'll move on to item C, the superintendent's report.
Yes, we're in the final week of school for 2019, so it's hard to believe that we're already through 2019. We'll be getting ready for 2020 as we come back on January 2nd. So as we've seen here, we have a supportive community that's allowed us to remodel and add on to our facilities, see students using those in a great way, being able to showcase those pieces. We have supportive parents and students that are partnering with us, partnering with our staff to improve student learning. And we saw that in last month's DPI report card with reaching the highest rating of civic that exceeds. So those are some of the examples that we see. So on so many levels, I think 2019 was a great year for our district. I know I tremendously enjoyed the year, and I'm looking forward to what 2020 brings to us. And so as a reminder that Monday, December 23rd to Wednesday, January 1st, we'll start our winter break. So all students return to school on the 2nd, Thursday, January 2nd. And then final reminder of the school board spring election that's coming up, and the candidate filing occurs on April 7th, 2020. Candidate filing deadline is Tuesday, January 7th at 5 p.m. We have 3 members up for re-election: Paul Lorgy, Steve Noddick, and Carrie Walls. If not running for re-election, non-candidacy papers must be turned in by December 20th at 5 p.m. But it's a reminder if anyone else in the community is running, the papers. The candidate filing deadline is Tuesday, January 7th at 5 o'clock. And then also we have, as we start looking ahead to 2020, 2021, we're looking at 4K. So our information night is coming up on Thursday, January 23rd at 6:30. It's held at Woodview Elementary School. The priority window then, the window is from January 24th to February 7th, and parents can enroll students either at the information night or at district office during that time frame. And then also we have congratulations to the Grafton High School Tech Robotics. You heard about this last month when Mr. Manti presented on some things and referenced Mr. Dodge and this summer, taking that on this year. And they applied for a grant from DPI, and they received a $2,181 grant to facilitate participation in STEM robotics competitions. So they were really excited about that, and we received it. Whatever day it was, I'd walk down at the end of the day and ran into both Mr. Dodge and Ms. Sumner and Mr. Manti, and they were very excited for that. So it was really great for DPI to be supporting that process and helping our students. And then hot off the press, just yesterday, Grafton's first LEGO League team, the Random Engineers, qualified for state. Students spent 70+ hours working together as a team, not including the 2 11-hour tournaments, and they won both the Robot Programming and Robot Performance Awards. So 9 out of 32 teams advanced to state, and Random Engineers are one of those 9. And that will take place on February 8th at Waukesha South High School. So we'll get added to a later board agenda with the students, their coaches, and so forth, but congratulations to them. And they're doing an ice cream party or something for them. Oh, you weren't, that was a text that Kate sent me. I said we would pay for ice cream for that. They're looking at me like, what? I'm like, that's right, that was an email that didn't say it. I said I would pay for ice cream and I'd come to that, so make sure you invite me to the ice cream party. So we're gonna celebrate with those students, which is great, to be recognized in that way, and all the hard work that they're doing, and that will pay off. So, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the public comment. So this is a portion of our agenda where we ask for any members of the public who wish to make comments to please come up, state your name, and please.
Fantastic. Pardon my notes. I know the first slide. Hi, I'm Suzanne, and I have to read things. I'm representing, is it on? I'm representing the Grafton Education Foundation tonight, and we just wanted to give you an update of our activities. DEF is currently asking for applications for the student liaison position. We've had over 1,000 hits on our website, but we have yet to see any real applications come in. We are also finalizing details to launch the Educator of the Year Golden Apple Awards. We're very excited, and a promotional video is being created, and we'll be asking for nominations in the new year. Riley Boutique in Cedarburg, owned by a Grafton parent, had a holiday shop night last week and gave 20% of their sales to GEF, and we earned just over $550 for the event. And lastly, GEF has board and chairperson positions open and are very much looking for people to volunteer. So we're looking to get the word out about that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Question for Suzanne. Suzanne, thank you very much for keeping us informed and for attending tonight's meeting. We really do appreciate the work that you do on behalf of the foundation, the work that the foundation does on behalf of the board, so thank you. Any other public comment? All right, then let's move on to the personnel report.
So the personnel report, we have a few retirements that we have for at the end of this year. And as with all of these retirements, we will have time in the spring. So February 1st, I believe, is the deadline for retirements to be submitted. So we're just sending an email out to all staff today as a reminder. And we'll bring everyone together. We'll have a district apparel piece for them, and we'll do a recognition for all these people at that time. But we have Sandy Giuliani, so business and information technology teacher at Grafton High School, and Laurie Mathias, the business and information technology teacher, both at Grafton High School and John Lung Middle School. So we have both of our teachers. We just saw them today at the Samantha and I were at the FBLA breakfast hosted at Fire Ridge, and they continue to do great work for our students and working with our students. But their time has come to be able to retire, which is great for them, and we are greatly appreciative of all their years of service they've given to our students and the work that they've done to help our high school and middle school do some great things with our students. Now, we have some informational pieces that we have Amy Janetta, who's a special ed aide at Kennedy Elementary School, Catherine Moorhead, a special ed aide at Kennedy Elementary School, and Natalie Walter, a special ed aide at Grafton High School. That completes all of our special education support positions that we had available. And we also have John Freeland, so district maintenance. John's been working across the district on the outdoor grounds and will be retiring at the end of this year. So at the end of December, he'll be retiring. The other retirements, the teacher retirements, are for the end of the school year. And then we also have a resignation of Melissa Dawley, special ed aide at Kennedy Elementary School. We would ask for the board to approve both Sandy and Lori's retirement requests.
All right, then I'd entertain a motion to approve those retirement requests.
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, aye. Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes without regrets. And congratulations for
And John will be someone that we'll bring back as well. So just as we've done in the past, there'll be certified staff, support staff, whoever it is that's retiring, we'll bring them back at a later time for the board to acknowledge them.
All right. Budget calendar overview. So
Yes, so as we've done the past few years, I've included a calendar, a budget development calendar in your packet for your review. It highlights the key actions and the dates that they occur, beginning in January, just right around the corner, all the way until the certification of the tax levy, which must be completed by November 1st. So essentially taking us to that board meeting in October when we approve that final budget. I'll point out that this is different than last year's. There are no red items. Last year we had items that involved the state biennial budget. Being that we're in the second year, we aren't needing to track the development and approval of the state budget that's in place right now. We do, of course, continue to have the bolded items, which would take place at both a finance committee and then the following board meeting. Again, starting off right in January with the budget projection. We would also be having finance look at personnel requests before going to the full board. The presentation of the initial preliminary budget in May would be at finance and the full board. The end of June, we get that preliminary budget approved. Then we have it published
in September for presentation at the annual meeting, which occurs at the end of September, before, of course, October rolls around, when we finally get our final numbers put in place and we come to the board, first finance committee meeting, then the full board for approval of our 2020-2021 budget. Are there any questions on the budget development plan?
Fairly and regularly comprehensive. Thank you. All right, we have approval of funding of scholarships next.
Yes, so last year, as you may recall, we did have a board member essentially refuse their salary, and then they can do that, and then they have to notify certain board members by December 1st. But an individual board member cannot direct those funds to be used for a specific purpose. We need the full board approval to be able to do that. Last year, we did, the board directed to use those surrendered salary or refused salary to fund a scholarship. We're doing that again this year. There is a second board member who has refused their salary and is requesting that those funds also be used to fund a scholarship that is yet to be named. So we would be looking for board approval. Those salaries have been surrendered. We'd be looking for board approval to direct those funds to fund these scholarships.
Okay, then I'd look for a motion from the board to adopt the recommendation regarding the salary that has been refused and the direction of those amounts to the scholarships as presented.
So moved.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Thank you very much to the members of the board for their time and contributions. Student overnight trip requests.
Yes, we have one overnight trip request that we're bringing forward to the board. So this is for Grafton for the quarterfinals. So in the past, they have had, they've been in the Milwaukee area for quarterfinals, but with their recent success last year that they had, they were third in the Midwest, so they've elevated that status. So now they're being split into a different quarterfinal in Illinois. So they go to Mount Vernon High School. So they're leaving on it's a Sunday that they perform, but instead of leaving on Sunday morning early and getting there and being tired, they'd like to leave on a Saturday, spend the night, and then compete that next day. Maybe Condon is the chaperone. She's the leader of the group, but we'll also bring along some parents, so we'll have a male and female chaperone along that way. But we would ask for the board to approve this overnight trip for our students.
Motion to approve the trip that is presented.
So
Discussion. All those in favor of the motion, aye. Aye. Opposed? It passes. Gift reports.
So we have a number of gift reports, which is always exciting to bring to the board and to see the support that we see across some of our parent groups, as well as some outside organizations supporting our students at the various levels. So we have Woodview Parent Group, who has donated $10,000 to supplement the referendum dollars connected to the playgrounds over at Woodview. Woodview is also in the process of working with Mr. McMahon to develop a sound system for the gym. So that donation is in the amount of $8,730. Capco Metal Stamping has donated $300 to the GHS Physics Society. And Rockwell Automation is donated $1,425 for our GHS FTC robotics team. MPE, with contact person being Ms. Granada, has worked on this for us. They've donated $1,000 to GHS FTC robotics team. And then Willow Machine has also donated $1,000 for the GHS robotics team. And our final one is the Kennedy Elementary School PDG, donating $10,000 for the supplement referendum dollars connected to the playgrounds.
Entertain a motion to accept all of those gifts as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes. Certainly with much thanks for all of the work that goes into raise this money from the parent groups and others, and then from the individual partners within the communities and those that are reaching out to the partners for their efforts in supporting our learning opportunities here in the district. It's simply outstanding. We can do it without these partners. Many thanks to them. All right, then we will move. I look to the Board of Education for a motion to convene into closed session to consider 1, strategies for crime detection or prevention, and 2, employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of an employee. This is in accordance with Wisconsin State Statutes 1985, 1, sub C and sub D. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Take a roll call vote. John, how do you vote?
Yes.
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 And yes, we are in closed session. Thank you, everyone.